Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Wednesday. We've made it halfway through the week, everybody. Let's celebrate that. We've got our weird and wacky news here for you today, so you can remember all the weird and wackiness that's going on, whether it be animals, people, or politics. They're all up to something, and it's not that serious. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before the show starts. We just got caffeine in our body and we learn to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those wacky headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on Wacky and Weird Wednesday. Water returns to Gatwick Airport after a major outage which left some people without a restroom. Plus, did China's Wang Yi and Japan's Toshimitsu Moteki talk at the ASEAN in Manila? Why are they lying about if they did or not?
Oh. Greetings from the United States for weirdness on Wednesday. Amateur astronomer discovers an ancient meteorite in Quebec using Google Maps. And New Mexico has built a solar tower to store solar energy.
In New York, they're trying to replace teachers with an AI robot, but they decided to pause that plan for obvious reasons, I would say. Plus, a Canadian politician is slammed after reading an AI-generated text during a legislative speech.
Yes, a Japanese man has been arrested for playing the guitar. I guess he wasn't playing it well enough. And in 1937, a botanical garden in Tahiti planted a nice tree that's totally invasive and is kind of encroaching on all the vegetation since then.
Uh-oh. In our culture news, Italian con artist is jailed for building world's oldest and largest amphitheater 20 years ago. Not that old, is it?
And it's National Chicken Wing Day. I mean, a chicken wing was that old play you used to you play in basketball, or you stick your elbow out and the guy hit and you get a foul on him, or no, it's the actual chicken wings, the wings of chicken that you eat. It is that day. July 29th, 2026 on Before Coffee. A year ago, I was wearing an eye patch.
Yeah. How you feel now? How's the eye going? When you're on? I
can see.
Yeah, but does it still feel weird, or has your body gotten used to it, so you just don't even feel it at all? That's the thing the body does sometimes. You can have a limp, and your body just gets used to having a limp, and then you figure out how to not have a limp.
I don't really notice any difference. Other than I can see. I mean, I got cataracts, apparently. Cataracts I gotta get removed at some point. So I do a lot of blinking.
Yeah, that's fun.
When I'm reading.
So you have cloudy eyes.
Floaters. Floaters all the time. But it's in both eyes.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's less annoying because they're both cloudy instead of one being clear and one being cloudy, and then you walking around like this, so just so you can see clearly.
And I can't see for when I wake up in the morning, I can't see at all. It's just like I'm not opening my eye. I can look at the floor. I kind of judge dimensions and depth perception or whatever. That might even be working. Either way, I don't want to open my eyes because just whatever's happening, it doesn't work. It's just like brightness, and my eyes go, "Fuck you." Close.
Yeah. What I've been dealing with is when I wake up, it's just too bright. Like I can't. It's painfully bright when I open my eyes, even though I have my blinds closed. Right. As soon as I'm like, oh God, why is it so bright? It's like looking into directly looking into the sun, even though it's very diffuse light. So very painful.
Yeah, light is
my brain.
Light is a frequency. It is a radio frequency. It does affect your brain other than just looking at it.
All right, let's roll our segue wheel. Also, hello, Nicole. Sorry, I saw you there. I just didn't say hello. Thank you for stopping by this afternoon. We've got a associate Or sarcasm. Associate this story with something, anything. Whatever comes into your brain. This is coming out of, I'll try to cut up the story, Gatwick Airport, in which they didn't have any water on Sunday, or maybe it was Monday. On Monday, some toilets were closed because of the supply issue. This is on the BBC by Awan Somerville. Gatwick Airport, Gatwick Airport says its water supply has returned after passengers faced long queues for toilets and closed restaurants and bars after a major supply outage. Both terminals at the UK's second busiest airport lost running water Sunday morning. So it was Sunday. Okay, I think the article was on Monday, but Sunday is when it happened. Sunday was the 25th of July. After a power failure at the treatment work, no, maybe it was 26th of, I don't know what day it was. I'm on a calendar. Let me look it up. It was the 26th, yeah, okay, the 26th of July, they had no water.
3 days ago.
I really wish these articles I read would put the date in, because what if I'm reading this story 3 weeks from now and I don't know when Sunday is? 26th of July morning, after a power failure at a treatment works that serves this area. People told the BBC of confusion and frustration as all bars and restaurants were shut. Not a very enjoyable airport experience, and some were left nowhere to sit and waits built up outside toilets. SES Water, the company that is guilty of cutting supply to the airport, said the earlier the power outage was fixed, with Gatwick reporting on the 26th of July night that water had returned to the vast majority of London Gatwick's campus. The water company, which also supplies parts of Kent, Surrey, and South London, said complications caused by the power outage at Bow Beach treatment works meant some customers had to experience low water pressure or temporary loss of supply. A spokesperson had earlier confirmed that Gatwick Airport was affected. We want to reiterate that our teams are working as quickly as possible as they can, and we are grateful for everyone's patience, the spokesperson at SES Water said. It was a highly unusual and complex issue. Gatwick apologized and said staff had been handing out bottled water. A spokesperson added, all staff are on hand to support passengers to provide assistance where needed. Some restaurant partners have opened to provide additional seating. Gatwick said additional teams had been deployed across both terminals to support passengers. Earlier, passenger Paul Lee told the BBC he had not heard any announcements about the issue or seen bottled water being handed out. He said, for people who need to go to the toilet, this isn't good. And still no announcement or official information. The water they mentioned isn't being distributed. I'm taking off soon, so that's fine, but passengers in a few hours, this will be bad. Lee added that restaurants and lounges were shut, but shops were open. Former MP and ex-CEO of UK Music, Michael Duggar, wrote on social media that the airport should at least allow people to use the chairs in all the closed restaurants and bars. He said, no water is one thing, but deprive people of somewhere to sit is another. Families are having to sit on the floor. BBC reporter Adam Dowling, who was flying from Valencia to Gatwick, said his flight had been delayed because of the water supply distribution, and passengers had been informed that landing slots were being moved around to reduce the number of flights coming to Gatwick. The BBC contacted Gatwick Airport to confirm if there had been any flight disruptions. Roger Wood from Tunbridge Wells in Kent said he thought his friends were joking when they told him there was no restaurant or bars open in Gatwick South Terminal. When he arrived to meet them ahead of the flight on that Sunday, the 26th of July, he found there were no water at all. No Nando's, no Wetherspoons, all those places were completely shut and stopping people from coming in, so there's no fresh water or ability to wash our hands. What a travesty. Man. This really is not serious news. It's just wacky news. Yeah, these poor people. I mean, it was at most an inconvenience, right? Many toilets were out of order with taps and flushes not working. Toilets had been open if they can draw on emergency water supplies. A passenger told the BBC there was a very long queue in the ladies' toilets and a short queue to the men's with no water to wash hands or flush the toilet, while another said she had been turned away from the toilets. Oh no, smelly toilets.
I'll associate this.
Yeah, that's all I have to really say. It's just a bunch of other quotes from people who are having a tough time. If the airline even said, please do not arrive early as you will not be able to drop off your bags or enter the departure lounge until bags drop open. Please don't come to the airport. It's not running very well. Right. So there's your wacky story.
in America, here's how we would handle a crisis like that, as we do with other crises, is people go in and price gouge for water. And hey, let's install pay toilets for these people, right? Yeah, you want to take a crap in the woods, or you can, yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying, we're the perfect chance to price gouge people for pay toilets and so forth, right?
Price gouge toilets.
You really want the toilet?
Imagine making somebody pay $1 to use the toilet, and then it doesn't even work.
Doesn't work. That again, it'll stop the backing up, right? It'll stop the, most of the people say, I'll just sign the parking lot.
After we go, but yeah, I think the problem is a lot of people, these people were in the security line, and then they got locked. That's my association. That's a really bad thing, man. Yeah, sorry, I'm giving me a sec. My camera froze. I didn't even realize my camera froze during that story. Okay, we're moving again.
I checked in a hotel one time, the toilet wasn't flushed, and I'm like, I'm not staying in this room. They didn't clean it.
Goodbye. Yeah, that's suspicious. The maid took a dump in my toilet.
Or they just left the frickin' room unlocked and some homeless person stayed there. I don't know, but either way, I'm not staying in this room. But
yeah. Our next story is coming from the ASEAN, I guess, weekly meetup. I don't know what they called it. It happened last week, and both China and Japan are lying if they even talk to each other there. Why did my camera break again? It's going to be one of those. Oh, no, it's fine. It's working again. Okay. This comes from Beijing by Ken Moritsugu. Did the foreign ministers of China and Japan talk last week at the regional meeting, or didn't they? Japan's Toshimitsu Motegi told reporters last week that he had briefly discussed bilateral relationships with Chinese counterpart Wang Yi when they ran into each other during the meeting in the Philippines. But on Monday, which was the 27th of July, a Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson contradicted that. Let me make it clear once again that during his visit to Manila, Foreign Minister Wang Yi did not have a meeting with the Japanese side on his schedule, nor did any brief exchanges take place on site, Lin Jian said while asked at the daily briefing. Okay. The differing accounts reflect the positions of the governments over a sharp deterioration in their ties since November, when a comment about Taiwan by the Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi angered China. Japan is looking for opportunities to rebuild relations, but China has given its neighbor the cold shoulder. The tensions have spilled over into the economy, including a decrease in Chinese tourists visiting Japan and high unease in both countries about the expansion of each other's militaries. Although Motegi said he and Wang discussed ties, Japanese media reported that the exchange was mostly greetings and pleasantries. Yeah, maybe it's more like Wang is like, I wouldn't consider that a discussion. You said hello, how are you, and then we walked away. Takaichi told a news conference on the 27th of July that the two sides are holding dialogue at various levels, including Motegi's exchange with Wang. Shortly after becoming prime minister, Takaichi said she was in parliament in November if Chinese blockade of Taiwan or other military action would be a scenario in which Japan could get involved with under a policy known as the collective self-defense. The policy allows Japan's military to help an ally, most likely the United States, if certain conditions, such as ensuring Japan's survival, are met. Because remember, for anybody who doesn't know the World War II history, after World War II, Japan was not only occupied for the United States for a while, they're basically put on a defense-only military status, right? They weren't allowed to make a military that could...
for about 30 years, so let's not ignore that.
I'm just saying they basically didn't have a military that could invade someone, so to say. Right, they only had a defensive force, so they had defensive measures, and now, because of everything, especially I think because of Russia, Japan is actually building a military that can also invade a country, not just defend themselves. And that's why everyone's like, oh no, Japan's gonna invade China again. I'm sure that's why this is also happening, right? China did not have a great experience from the last Japanese invasion, so to say. Takaichi responded that Taiwan example could meet their criteria to attack China. If it involves the use of warships and military actions, it could be, by all means, become a survival threatening situation, he said. But the remark crossed what China considers a red line in relations with other countries. You're gonna invade us again? It's in a push to gain control of Taiwan. The government opposed any words or actions, including U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, that encourage what it labels Taiwan Independence Forces. Taiwan is a self-governing island, but China claims it as territory. Takaichi has refused to retract her answer, but also later told the same parliamentary committee that she would avoid talking about specific self-defense scenarios in the future. Yeah. It's like, watch yourself, China. I don't think a lot of people are going to just let you take Taiwan, okay? That's all that she's saying, but that caused a bit of a drama, and that's my other weird and wacky story, I guess, about politicians being like, we did not talk. I don't even know her.
I will associate this, right? I will associate this with, in the United States, we take a lot of shit for our, and rightfully so, for our restrictive immigration policies lately. But again, we're still not as restrictive as China or Japan or Korea.
Yeah.
Those three countries just get away with being hateful to outsiders and official policy every single day of their lives.
Yeah.
And everybody just looks
Xenophobia.
their way. Everybody just looks their way at their hegemony, or xenophobia, as you call it. I don't know if it's xenophobia. It's definitely hegemony. What? You ain't got our
people who
you can't
live
immigrate here. Yeah.
people who live in Japan as, I guess, like, you know, expats or immigrants or whatever, they're always like, yeah, Japanese people are just like, oh, when you're going home all the time. It's like, oh, I've lived here for 8 years actually. I'm not going anywhere.
You American, you go back to your home country. You know, I'm staying here the rest of my life. Huh? What? You can't do that. Yeah, I can. I'm a legal resident. Again, they get away with it. It just seems so unfair that these countries with declining populations, all three of them, by the way, South Korea, Japan, China, you can understand India, right? You can understand India, you can understand these other countries. Like, we have no resources for you guys, right? We got too many people. But you guys should be pulling in immigrants. You're declining, your old population is just gonna let's make Grandpa work till he's 90, you know?
But that's already happening. That's already happening. There already are
Grandpa
working.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I get that there's institutional memory, but that guy, you know, it takes him all day to do a job that a 15-year-old can do in 20 minutes, you know? Anyway, that's my little diatribe on why don't you guys just raise your immigration? You'll have more of a, you know, but they want to be a closed society, which America is accused of, which is not
closed
even
society, but also make money off the global market, and that's just not applicable. those two things don't go together.
I will never drop my criticism of Japan, China, and Korea specifically, because they are big, gigantic economies.
Yeah.
To you know, welcome strangers, like, you know, everybody's like, oh, the United States is so restrictive on immigration. No, we're not compared to you guys. All right, let's do the if we're comparing ourselves to the biggest economies in the world, we're not as restrictive as everybody thinks, even though we are assholes for sure.
Right.
Let's
Our
do
next
the story.
segue is non sequitur for your story.
Maybe put that on the bingo card. Roger criticizes Far Eastern immigration. Just the Far East. I'm not going after India. What do we spend?
Non sequitur, which is what we're on right now.
Eternal non sequitur. Non sequitur about amateur astronomer discovers an ancient meteorite. Well, if you time on your hands, you just scrolling through Google and playing around, maybe you'll find something. This is from Gizmodo.com. Passant Rabi is the person's name. Joel, it's got the little umlaut thing or whatever. Those two dots called? That's not an umlaut, is it? What's that called? Joel Lapointe was casually browsing Google Maps, planning hiking routes for an upcoming camping trip when he stumbled upon an unusual indentation near Marshall Lake in Quebec. As an amateur astronomer, Lapointe recognized that the large pit may be the site of a meteorite impact that left a scar on the terrain. Scientists just confirmed that he was right. Researchers announced the existence of a large crater in the in the Côte Nord region of Quebec, which dates back to around 390 million years ago, and the Canadian Broadcasting Company reported. Following LaPointe's initial discovery in 24, a team of geologists set out to examine the impact site and were able to verify that a meteorite did in fact smash into Earth on this particular point. The team's research will be presented to the annual Congress of the Meteorological Society, which will be held on August 9th to 14th in Frankfurt, Germany. Hey, we've been there. Many reports from the public and potentially unidentified meteor craters turned out to be false, but when LaPointe reached out to the scientists pointing out his Google map find, they felt there could be something there. Looking at the topography, it's very suggestive of impact. Pierre Rochette, or Rocher? No, I think it's Rochette. Geophysicist at the France Research Center for Geoscientists and Environmental in Aix-en-Provence, France, told the CBC. The pit measures around 9 miles wide and formed a near-perfect ring of small mountains centered around Lake Marshall. It was originally interpreted as volcanistic diatreme formation, whereby magma rises up through a crack in the Earth's crust, but its features seem to be more aligned with that of a crater floor. In October of 25, a team of geologists examined the crater site over the course of 5 days, gathering evidence to confirm LaPointe's suspicion. Samples received from the site contained a mineral called zircon, which often forms during meteor impacts, according to Live Science. Zircon sounds like a diamond, right? Isn't that what a fake diamond is called? Zircon, zirconium?
Yeah.
So it is just crystallized carbon. That's what that would be. The team that also identified shattered cone-shaped patterns caused by shock waves as they travel through the ground. It also found big cliffs of impact melt rock, which forms an intense pressure and temperature of an asteroid and meteorite crashing to Earth. In other words, this was a meteor impact. We know it. This is the only thing it could have been. Based on the evidence, the team of geologists confirmed that the unusual pit was created by aftermath of a meteorite strike that took place millions of years ago. The team named it something you can't pronounce. Yay! Okay, let's try it. The team named it Yuhatatik crater following discussions with the Ukaneshit Uno Council, which represent the indigenous people in the area, Live Science reported. Of course, the indigenous people have no claim to this crater. It was way before they were around. But I guess we just give it... I would name it after the guy that found it. I don't give a shit of who lived on that land. The guy who found it should get his name on it. I'm serious. Really? If the indigenous people are so freaking... I'm not against indigenous people, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if they're all into this, why didn't they name it? You know what I'm saying? Now
maybe they did. Maybe that's what was named. Maybe that's what it was named by the indigenous people.
No, the people named it that. Well, maybe they did. I don't know. Either way, to me, it's like...
You don't know. So maybe that they can't get what's already been named.
I definitely bow down to their rights to their land, and they could just give them back their land. But they weren't there when they didn't discover the meteor crater, right? And if they did, they should have called it that. The guy in the Google Maps that found it. I want him to get credit. Damn it! I want somebody in this world that
maybe the indigenous people already knew about it, so they didn't think it was anything to talk about. It's like, oh yeah, there's a mountain there, and then some guy in Google Maps like, hey, did you know about this crater? And it's like, yeah. The people living there probably were like, yeah, we knew about it, whatever.
No idea what caused it.
They didn't tell any archaeologists about it or geologists about it, so now that's why this is a big news story, right? They didn't.
Yeah, we have no proof. We have no proof of any of that. This is your supposition. We have no proof of that. It's just your supposition based on available information, but we have no proof that anybody ever thought of this as anything but another thing in the horizon we got to stumble over. But yeah, they decided to name it after because. In Canada, as bad as we treated the Indians, Canada's in the running to have treated them worse. So let's not forget that. And Mexico and South America, even worse. So as bad as we were, Canada was worse. It's hard to believe, right? Anyway, let's have us a non sequitur as the whole story turned into a non sequitur.
Yeah, I mean, it's my camera broke again. Okay, we're just gonna have a broken camera today. I switched to it and it's just like no longer connected to the computer. I love that. I guess we're just looking at a black screen.
Canada's big thing was, we're gonna do you native population a favor by stealing your children. That's what we're gonna do for you.
Yeah, I guess that is a good non sequitur. Canadians had those basically brainwashing camps.
Oh,
Where
they just
they
exterminate.
would be like, give up your real. They would steal children from their parents. Say you no longer can speak your native language. Your name is no longer non-Took. Your name is now Tom.
You're the British way.
Yeah, and you need to act properly.
Right,
and then a lot of those kids would get killed by their teacher or something, or die in a tragic accident, quote unquote accident.
Yeah, they would tragically be punished to death. Yeah. That's what happens.
Buried on the grounds of the school.
We're gonna lock you in a room.
Yeah.
We're gonna lock you in a room to give you bread and water for 10 days until you die. Yeah. Let's torture them into compliance. Next story.
Yeah, so in case anybody's wondering, why do I never hear about Native people? It's because they fundamentally were erased on purpose.
Right. They took them in
Christianity, really.
Yeah.
All these people were Christians, by the way.
Language is barbaric and stupid. Your ways are barbaric and stupid, not our ways. Just absolute nonsense. European nonsense. EC Portal has a story, ecportal.net. Emil Parra, it's about in New Mexico. They built, this is a headline. The headline is way too long. AI can't write headlines. New Mexico built a solar tower where a curtain of sand falls through concentrated sunlight and carries the heat away for later. So it's a big solar battery. The desert sky above New Mexico holds a great deal of heat. The challenge, however, has always been to store that heat after dark. A vertical tower with hundreds of mirrors had just begun to reflect sunlight into a single point. The tower does not store heat in liquid inside a sealed tube. Excuse me. Instead, it stores the heat in falling sand. Each particle absorbs incredible amounts of heat while tumbling through the light beam. Once the particle reaches its peak temperature, it can be stored in insulated containers for many hours. How have engineers kept the curtain of particles in the tower from simply floating away? Okay, let's talk about the science. Most concentrated solar power or CSP facilities currently employ some type of synthetic oil or molten salt to carry heat. Molten salt, that's going to be pretty hot. Synthetic oils begin to degrade once heated to high temperatures. That's a problem. Meanwhile, molten salts can freeze within the pipes used to circulate them. In contrast, the particles are made up entirely of chemically inert ceramic material. Yes, the particle. Right. The CSP plant shown here. There's no picture. Utilizes numerous heliostat mirrors. These mirrors focus intense beam of sunlight towards a central area located at the top of the tower. At the top of the tower, a special hopper releases millions of dark ceramic grains every second. Once the curtain begins to fall, each particle falls directly under concentrated light rays. Since no tubing exists, direct sunlight heats the particles without barrier or heat loss. When the hot grains reach the bottom of the tower, they fall into an insulated container. There, they remain until needed. Elevated storage capacity for next generation power cycles, says the heading of the next section. I'll just read everything. Renewable energy must continue to generate electric power even when the sun is not shining. The falling sand concept serves as a giant thermal battery. The falling particle research is funded by the Department of Energy to improve clean power systems. Hot particles can maintain their heat for more than 6 hours. So use that it's like a battery. Batteries, you can't just let batteries sit around forever. They do go bad on their own. This kind of battery just discharges on its own after 6 hours, just from the heat dissipating. The testing at Sandia National Laboratories proves ceramic grains retain extreme heat across long periods. To generate electricity when needed, hot grains are released through a pressurized heat exchanger. Pressurized CO2, or carbon dioxide, flows through the heat exchanger and collects thermal energy. Although this closed-loop system produces electricity long after sunset, utilizing solid particles decreases total operating costs. It also eliminates operational risk due to pipe corrosion and leakage due to chemicals. No corrosion, sand doesn't corrode anything.
Nobody wants leakage. That's not fun.
Yeah, leakage. Yeah, that's why they invented the pens. However, However, delivering consistent heat necessitates precise control of the particle system. The receiver situated high atop the tower is constructed to maximize thermal capture, featuring an internal cavity. It incorporates a unique angled construction to reduce heat loss. Inside the cavity, metal channels temporarily catch falling grades before releasing them once again. This temporary containment strategy reduces the velocity of the grain stream and enhances curtain consistency. There's 2/3 of a alliteration headline.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, the grains experience increased exposure to intense light, thus achieving higher desired temperatures. Engineering, sensors integrated into the receiver continuously monitor particle mass flow rates across all aspects of the curtain width. Automated systems alter grain curtain density simultaneously. All right, the grain curtain density, or the GCD, is a term I just made up, based on current real-time solar radiation levels. After being cooled via the heat exchanger, an insulated bucket elevator transfers grains back up. They return to the top of the tower for the next cycle. And sand just keeps getting recycled. I mean, it's just not going to break down. It's silica. Continuous operation facilities, reliable and efficient production of electricity via sample sand. The particle tower represents a significant advancement towards developing viable long-duration energy storage technology, swapping liquids for inexpensive, readily available sand, and New Mexico has lots of sand, shares the cost of delivering clean energy to millions. As grid demands grow, expanding these storage alternatives will be essential to ensuring long-term reliability. Making a lot of statements here at the end. Here's another statement. These alternatives are vital to securing stable energy future. Here's another statement. Advancing solar towers represent a major breakthrough for long duration energy storage. Okay, so it's like one more statement. This operational shift directly parallels how automated thermal flows are managed downstream. So 5 statements that say kind of sort of the same thing.
They're assuming these things will happen, or at least they're hoping it does these things.
No. Yeah.
It will do these things. Yeah, okay.
Swapping liquids for expensive, readily available sand slashes the cost of delivering clean energy, right? It would slash it, right? You're not always replacing your infrastructure. It doesn't have to be replaced. There's no corrosion. Hang on. Let's have a non sequitur about my non sequitur. Closed. Oh, no, I closed.
In other news, my camera broke again.
Oh no, not that.
Oh dear.
I closed all my stories.
Well, I was picking my nose too. Well, scratching my nose. It's hilarious.
Oh, it must have been a rough fight.
Oh dear.
Oh,
I don't know. My camera being a complete dickhead.
Well, let's say a non sequitur while you're fixing your camera. I don't know.
All right, we're back. No, it's a quick fix. It's just annoying because I have to turn it on and off again. My non sequitur is I like water.
Oh,
water's great.
Oh, that worked.
You know what's great about water is that we can clean it and we cannot pollute it to begin with, and keep our local water clear. So
I suppose I'll applaud that. Water's nice. It's wet, also wet, very wet.
All right, next segue.
You have hot water, warm water, you have cold water, you have lukewarm water. Don't forget that. You have boiling water, you have ice, you have steam. Oh wow, just so many varieties. I gotta find my.
Our next segue is. What was that? Was it sarcasm? Oh, hypothetical. All right, come up with a hypothetical about these 2 scenarios I'm about to give you.
Hypothetical.
The first hypothetical scenario is AI robot teachers. I think that's interesting enough in its own way. This is from Philip Marcello coming out of New York on AP. A school district in a rural corner of upstate New York, so this is in New York City, just upstate New York, is hitting pause on plans to deploy an AI-powered humanoid robot in the classroom after state education officials, teachers, and local residents raised concerns, including the maker's ties to a company that produces hyper-realistic sex bots. What if... You know what? We're not making enough money in the sex bot industry. What we need to do is release a realistic humanoid robot to teach children in class. Now, I have nothing against that. What I have against it is the actual humanoid robot replacing an actual human being to teach your child how to be a human being. Because let's be honest, right? Children don't just learn math and science and social studies in school. They also learn how to be a human being from their fellow kids and their teachers, because they spend 8 hours there. Right? You spent 8 hours of your life at school. Every day at school. So I don't want to teach. I don't want a robot being there. Okay? I don't think a robot has any.
I'll just stay home. Thank you.
Anywhere near children and their development. Okay? The Salamanca City Central School District Board approved the nearly $60,000 purchase. So that's your tax money, probably, because it's a school district. Means they take. As far as I know, most school districts.
You're saving money. Don't worry about that. They don't pay salaries and insurance and all that crap. As far as I'm pretty sure most public school districts take money off of like local taxes, right? Like. Yeah,
whatever.
Also federal taxes.
Yeah,
also
so
federal.
That's your taxes going into a 60,000, maybe not. Well, maybe not your taxes unless you live in upstate New York, but somebody's taxes went into a 60.
Federal government money goes to all schools. Don't forget that, because you do educate, especially if you have any military bases near your school. You do get federal money. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Either way, $60,000. This was not a private purchase. $60,000 of tax money was going to buy this Realbotics Sally teacher robot, a stationary robot with long dark hair, and has already been nicknamed. Would it enhance the education of high school students studying robotics and technology fields? Having a difficult time programming Arduino board? Don't you ever know what an Arduino board is? Ask Sally and she can explain it. So can an actual teacher who teaches programming. Superintendent Mark Beeler said on Tuesday, the 28th of July, the robot also provides opportunities for students to learn how the robot is maintained, how it's updated with new approved content, and how to troubleshoot issues. Why would we need a teacher when you can just troubleshoot your own teacher? Oh, the teacher stopped working again. Get the diagnostic out. But a news spread in the small community located in Seneca Nation of Indian Reserve. Parents and teachers worried about how students' personal information would be used. Unionized teachers took aim. That's another thing, right? Robots can't unionize, can they? At Realbotics sex doll sister company.
Hell no.
Even as district officials in the company itself stressed the two manufacturers operate independently. I see where the teachers are coming from here, because I don't know if you guys remember, or you even remember, that we did stories a couple times about teachers who had opened up an OnlyFans account because they just didn't make enough money. So they're like, oh, here's an easy side gig I can do, right? After work, I can take a picture of my foot and post on OnlyFans and make money. And those teachers were getting fired for...
Parent sees you on there. It's like, why are your students' parents on there?
They were getting fired for moonlighting as sex workers, basically. So it's just like, I see what these unionized teachers are going after, the fact that their parent company or their sister company is a sex doll company. It's like, wait, you're going to fire real people for having like an OnlyFans, but you're not going to, and then turn over and use a robot that's sister company makes sex dolls? That's not fair. A robot built by a company associated with sex dolls has no business in our classrooms, said Melinda Person. I love that. The president of the labor union of New York State United Teachers is called a Melinda Person, just to signify I'm a real goddamn person, not a robot. For now, the robot pilot remains on hold as the district works through the fact that they've pissed everyone off and enhanced student data privacy agreements with the state education officials and to continue outreach to the community, according to a statement the district posted on Friday of last week on its Facebook page, which Friday of last week, I believe, was the 24th of July. So they are pausing it. They're not stopping it. I guess you're gonna have to, the state and officials, teachers are probably gonna vote on this and some sort of local election saying, should we have AI teachers? And everyone's saying no. And the school is going, but we paid $60,000 for this. Okay, bad business decision. Beeler stressed that the pilot, which also included a rollout of virtual AI-powered teacher assistant and at-home tutoring program, is not about replacing staff. No, it's about reducing costs, which is the same thing as replacing staff, but you're just going to use a different word for it. There is no possible way a robot can replace a human in the school, he said on Tuesday, the 28th of July. Even if it were possible, it would in no way be the best interest of the students. Teaching is a human-to-human process, so what's the point of this then? We're just trying it out, even though we're not going to do it. Okay, then who cares? Just don't do it at all. Beeler, who was connected to Realbotics through a former colleague, said that the Las Vegas-based company was a natural fit because its robots are already programmed with WOZ Ed, a curriculum from Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak that the district uses. No! Steve Wozniak, how could you? Last year, San Diego Charter School rolled out 2 AI-powered robots purchased from the Engineered Arts, a robotics company based in the UK, for $500,000. God damn.
What?
Salamanca schools and social media posts stress that Sally won't be collecting students' personal information, recording audio or video of its interaction, or sending data back to Realbotics, at least not as far as they know. As far as they know. The robot also has been programmed to steer clear of inappropriate topics such as sex, violence, and gambling, and it won't be able to search the public internet or draw answers from unvetted generative AI services. Instead, all information on Sally will be stored locally, with the life-size robot consuming roughly the same amount of energy as a laptop, according to the district. Realbotics added Tuesday that students' authentication would be handled through district's existing systems, and any student-linked information would be remain encrypted and under the district's control. Still, some residents remain wary. Baylor argued that it's crucial for the isolated districts like Salamanca, which is located along the Allegheny River near the Pennsylvania state line, to find new ways to introduce cutting-edge products into the classrooms. In most cases, our students need to travel 1 to 2 hours to have opportunity to see emergent technology, he said on the 28th of July. One of the intents of the robots to help level the playing field and motivate students to continue studying robotics, AI, and STEM-related activities. Career path. Is it STEAM or STEM? I thought it was STEM. Did we add a new thing? Oh, are we adding AI in there now? It's now science, technology, engineering, AI, and maths. No, I don't think so. I don't want to read the rest of the story because it's just more people saying stuff like, this is stupid.
Right.
I'm really tired of this propaganda that people who are being paid by big AI, right? Here's my conspiracy theory for today. People are talking about the AI revolution like it's already happened, gone and passed, and that's the world you're living in now, right? You don't fight against it; it's already happened. That's propaganda. You can continue to. Yep. This is a side tangent, but it reminded me of a video I saw where the head or a member of the American Arts Musical Artists Association or whatever, the people who run the Grammys, right? The people who vote in the Grammys. He said, isn't everyone using it? Like, everyone's using AI in their music production now. Everyone. That's a lie. Mm-hmm. Everyone, as in 100% of people, are not using AI in their music production, but they keep lying to you that they are. So you just say, oh, well, everyone's doing it. If they're just trying to get the sheep all gathered in the flock and go, everyone's doing it, guys. Give us your money, pay for our AI tools, because we've invested a lot of money in our AI tools and data centers. And if you don't pay us for them, we'll lose money. So we have to push out this propaganda that everyone's doing it, guys. Give us money for AI. There's my side tangent. Give me your hypothetical.
Let's normalize reporting AI on YouTube videos, especially narrators and shit like that. It's like you couldn't hire a person. You couldn't just do it yourself. You had to go, AI can do it. And then they pass it off.
Yeah.
And All right. So my hypothetical is the future is here. Self-driving cars and sex bots who teach. That wasn't necessarily the future I thought about. But
no.
I can't wait until Dirty Johnny hacks the teacher and turns teacher into a sex bot. That'll be fun. And my last hypothetical, I will quote former President George W. Bush, who said, "Is our children learning?"
No. According to teachers everywhere, at least, we are not learning anything. All right. Thank you. Wait, let me give you... Where is it? Here it is. Let me give you applause. Yeah, the crowd goes wild. We love our future. We love the future.
Oh, wow.
My next story, sorry that one's so loud because it got me riled up. The caffeine just hit. I have another story, and this is about more AI. A Canadian politician, whether it was him or his secretary or whatever, gave him an AI-generated speech, and everyone was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? This is Roberto Wacarel Cruz on the Post-Millennial. Here's a more natural flowing version of... A New Brunswick opposition MLA is facing criticism after appearing to read what observers say was an AI-generated text during a speech in the provincial legislature, including a sentence that appeared to be an editing instruction from a chatbot. Progressive conservative. That's like us when we're reading an article and then it says, you know, Reuters is I'm reading the Reuters fucking ad. He was just reading that speech, not thinking of what he was saying, and it just kept going line by line. Not realizing he's saying, if you would like to use Cloud Plus, you must do that's not in the article. That has nothing to do with the speech. Progressive conservative MLA Bill Oliver was speaking last month against legislation that would establish a public advocate for energy utilities when he read the line, "Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points." Remarks went largely unnoticed at the time. Weeks later, however, a video clip circulated on Reddit where users mocked the speech and questioned whether artificial intelligence has been used to prepare. Question that's pretty obvious. What is artificial? Who the fuck would say that in a sentence? I've only ever seen here's a more natural flowing, or here's a more sarcastic version of this from AI. I've only ever seen that from AI. One commenter wrote, "If there are no consequences for this, then we hold our high schoolers to a higher standard than our elected officials," another added. "If he was a lawyer, he'd be sanctioned." Other users described the incident as amateur hour, idiocracy, and depressing, and a good grief. Oliver's office did not respond to the request for comment. According to the original report, the speech centered on legislation creating a public advocate for energy utilities. Earlier in the address, Oliver said, "Public confidence in the office of advocate matters," before later reading the apparent chatbot instructions aloud. The wording resembles responses generated by a large language models such as ChatGPT. The original report said that when the bill was entered in ChatGPT with instructions to draft an opposing speech in Oliver's style, the chatbot produced similar language used. The report also said AI detection service Pangram assessed the speech as being highly likely to have been AI generated. It's just so obvious. We don't need any proof. Nobody writes in a speech, "Here's a more natural flowing version of this section." Nobody writes that in a speech. If you write a speech for somebody, you don't say, "Hey," you tell that. I'm just saying, if you write a speech for somebody, because I doubt most politicians write their own speech, and if they do, you would just go up to them and say, "Hey, Oliver, so I wrote this speech. This first section is like more straightforward, but if you want like a more easy flowing version, you should read the second one that I wrote." You would just say it in person to them. You wouldn't write that in the actual speech in like parentheses or whatever. You wouldn't do that, in my opinion. So the episode comes amid broader scrutiny of the use of artificial intelligence in professional settings. Like our previous story about teachers, courts in multiple jurisdictions have addressed cases involving AI-generated filings containing fabricated citations, while schools, businesses, governments continue to develop policies governing the technology's use. Hey, here's a reference to a thing I fucking made up, because I'm an AI. Oh yeah, please look at this report from 2019 that says all men have 15 toes. It's in a report that I made up. See, I cited my sources. Report I made up. Anyways, there's your story. Oh, where'd you go? Why are you gone? What happened? Oh, I disconnected. No! It did that thing again.
There you are.
That thing where it disconnected me.
You're having trouble with your internet.
No, it's not internet. For some reason, Discord thinks I've gone AFK and puts me in the AFK channel, even though I'm speaking into the mic.
I guess you got to reload that.
So,
I don't know.
I don't know why it's doing that. It happens once in a while. But the story was, I think you got most of it. There wasn't really any more to add.
Right.
Dude is obviously using AI in his speech.
Right.
It's not even a question. I don't even know why people are like, are we sure? We're pretty fucking 100% sure. Use AI.
My hypothetical, of course, the AI, the future of AI, right? The future of AI, and we're getting there soon. We'll be there. At some point, it'll be nearly as accurate as some random dude with an opinion. So there you go. That's nearly as accurate.
Oh God.
That's their goal. That's their goal. To be nearly as accurate. Almost the guy with an opinion never corrects himself. At least the AI. AI will correct itself, but it will not store the correction in its permanent memory. It's just, oh, it's a suggestion. I'll just give you the soft stuff to please you for now. But
yeah, exactly.
You'll get it wrong. You got this wrong yesterday. You still get it wrong today. You are programmed by people with a bias. That's the problem with AI. They all have a bias. And
a reminder: this
bias.
This show isn't all doomsday. You know, it's not the end of the world, but you know, it's just poking fun at like the ridiculousness of just like we live in a world, which is the real world. This is reality.
Yeah.
Seventh layer of the Matrix right now.
Someday I'll ask AI a question and actually trust what it says without checking on it. But that isn't.
But I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime.
Usually I know intuitively that that's wrong, and I'm going to give you one chance to correct yourself, and then I'm going to look it up. And if you don't correct yourself, I'm going to be, you really need to correct yourself. Yeah, so.
Really, really sad.
Arguments with Gemini.
But there's my story, right. And you probably missed this at the end of my story.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You probably missed that at the end of my story. But I basically was talking.
Sorry.
Oh no, yeah, I lost my train of thought just now. Never mind. Sorry. But anyway, I said something that you missed. Let's spin our next segue, Will.
AI, sure. This is what we talk about half of the show. About AI just ruining everybody's life. It's like, oh yeah, well, you know what? That's not really true. But AI thinks it's true.
That's what I said at the end, but you missed it. At the end of my story, I said, yeah, I love when they're talking about how lawyers have been using AI, and then they'll be like, I'm citing a reference to a law from 2019 that says men have 12 toes. But they made that up, right? There's no such law, right? That citations, references, and stuff are being just made up by AI, and then people aren't checking them, and then we're basing law, right? We're basing court cases off of something an AI invented in its brain somewhere.
How about when Whiskey Pete Pig's Breath was making that speech, and he thought he was quoting the Bible, and he was quoting Pulp Fiction instead, right? He was quoting Samuel L. Jackson and Pulp Fiction.
I wonder if he used AI to write this.
And every biblical scholar in the audience, and I think it was an audience full of actual, ministers and shit, and they're like, that ain't in the Bible. They're looking through their Bible. What the fuck is that? That's in the book of, oh, here it is. It's in the book. What's the name of that director? It's in the book of Tarantino. That's where it is. Anyway, let's do the spin.
Our next segue is sarcasm for your story.
Yeah, it's a New Testament book, the book of Tarantino. The New Testament. Times of India has a story about the Tahiti Botanical Garden was trying to pretty up their island. Hey, if you're in Tahiti, you don't need more pretty. You're already pretty enough. But anyway, in 1937, they did think it needed more prettiness. So they planted a giant freaking ornamental tree. This is from the TOI World Desk, the Times of India World Desk. In 1937, a botanical garden in Tahiti planted a botanical garden, the people that run the botanical garden, not the garden itself, in Tahiti planted an ornamental tree, and one day becoming warning signs from the world's most vulnerable rainforest. So it began as a beautiful landscaping choice, has grown to a serious biosecurity threat with a single mature Myconia tree. They don't even capitalize it. It's called the Myconia tree. capable of producing more than 8.9 million seeds in one fruiting season, is posing a major risk to Queensland's World Heritage Rainforest. I guess Queensland is the name of the city in Tahiti. I'm not sure. Obviously, they were occupied by England to have a name like Queensland, right? The tree in question is Myconia, a tropical plant native to the Americas that was once valued for its striking appearance. Large leaves, purple undersides, and lush growth made it attractive to gardeners. So purple trees are pretty. And that ornamental appeal helped it spread far beyond its original range. Over time, however, Myconia earned a far darker reputation in places such as Tahiti and Hawaii, where it became notorious for invading forests and smothering native vegetation, according to a report by the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries, Biosecurity in Queensland. Does it at least make good wood? Tahiti Lake goes back to 1937 when a botanical garden planted the species as an ornamental tree. From there, the plant escaped cultivation and spread aggressively across the island's landscapes. In places where it took hold, it formed dense stands that blocked sunlight from reaching the forest floor and pushed out native plants. Why Queensland is worried? That they're worried because trees that produce 8.9 million seeds, well, there you go. That's why they're worried. It's a dangerous threat to Queensland's, it's hard to say, ancient rainforest. Queensland's trees, Myconia, treats Myconia as a high priority invasive weed for a reason. Biosecurity Queensland says the plant could cause an irreversible ecological damage to state's subtropical and wet tropics rainforests, including World Heritage areas. Those habitats are especially important because they support rare and endemic species found nowhere else on Earth. The concern is not only that Myconia grows quickly, also that a single plant can reproduce on a massive scale. We already keep bringing up the 8.9 million seeds as if they didn't mention it already. So yeah, 8.9 million seeds, in case you didn't catch it in the headline the other two times I mentioned it. This allows one tree to spread seeds over a wide area, establish large invading population. Obviously. Myconia is especially dangerous in rainforests environments because the way it changes the habitat around it invades the understory, the layer beneath the canopy where the delicate plants grow. Rare orchids, ferns, shrubs, and small native trees are particularly vulnerable because Myconia reduces the amount of light they receive. As the plant spreads, it can create barren understories and reduce ground cover. That not only harms biodiversity, also lead to erosion. Queensland's risk assessment notes that Myconia's shallow spreading root system can destabilize hillsides, especially after rain, and tropical catchments. That instability can send sediment into streams, eventually damage reef ecosystems downstream. Okay, so what are we doing? Queensland is not treating the threat casually. The National Tropical Weeds Eradication Program has been set up to protect World Heritage rainforests in the wettest parts of Australia by surveying and removing invasive weeds from tropical far north Queensland and subtropical North Wales. Myconia is one of the 5 largest species in the program. The goal is ambitious but important: to stop the weed before it becomes permanently entrenched. That matters. These outbreaks begin in gardens to small plantings before spreading into nearby forests. Yeah, people bring them home. It's a cute plant for my garden. No, don't do it. Your garden's not that pretty. Queensland also asked for public help. People are encouraged to report sightings immediately through official channels because early detection is the best tools available in dealing with a plant that can hide under forest canopies and spread so efficiently. The story of Myconia is a reminder that ornamental plants are not always harmless. A tree planted for the beauty of Tahiti in 1937 has become part of a much larger environmental challenge across the Pacific. In Queensland, the stakes are especially high because the rainforests are not only ecologically rich but globally significant. Now, Queensland apparently is in Australia, not Tahiti.
Yes.
Yeah. I know there's a Queensland in Australia. Yeah, they planted it in Tahiti, and it's spreading across the Pacific because it is proximity, I guess.
I think it must just have a really, just maybe it's getting carried by birds. Right, we talked about that yesterday.
According to the map, very close to Papua New Guinea.
Mm-hmm. It probably just, got carried on people's clothes, pollen or whatever, seeds cured by birds. There's so many ways trees spread, right, to other places, and it's just that strong.
There's no Queensland there is no Queensland Tahiti, as far as I know, because I just looked it up. They're talking about Queensland, Australia, which is 11 hours by plane from Tahiti. That's crazy, right? So it's spread all that far just from being in the Pacific. That's crazy, huh?
At what point is it just nature, or is it trying to keep the purity, you know? Because without humans, would this tree have spread eventually anyways, you know?
Right.
Could have happened. I don't know. I don't think Australia should complain about trees, but they have a giant desert in the middle of them, so.
Oh, there's only native population in Tahiti.
Yeah.
But it's native to tropical America, like places like the Caribbean and stuff, where it's not invasive. But it probably has a lot of animals or insects that will destroy it or take it down.
Yeah. Or eat it, I don't think kangaroos are eating them, basically.
So
here we go. There's your sarcasm. Your sarcasm is, well, why don't you just make a giant emu kangaroo army and take them all down? Seems like an easy thing to do for Australia. You've done it before.
The emus won the emu war in Australia. Don't forget that.
Yeah, so just get both of them, take them, make an army, and say, get the weeds.
So I apologize. It's a confusing story. There is no Queensland in Tahiti. This is all about Australia. So you know Tahiti is the original. Is there a Tahiti in Australia?
Do you have another story?
I do. It's a shorter one.
All right.
I didn't applaud you, but
more sarcasm.
Keep losing the signal, so we'll move the show along. Japan Times. This is a short one about a guy on a guitar. And if you suck at guitar, take note. People will complain after a while. I'm going to go to my drum kit and just make noise. That's what I'm going to do later. Japan man arrested for years of guitar noise. This is from the japantimes.co.jp. An overly enthusiastic Japanese musician has been arrested after allegedly giving his elderly neighbors insomnia for more than 7 years. Did you have a guitar player doing that to you somewhere in your little...
I've never been complaining about guitars. We did have a neighbor who played guitar really well. His wife, or I should say his ex-wife, because they got divorced, did not like that he played guitar, so only played guitar when she wasn't home. So no wonder they got divorced.
Oh, lordy lord. That is no existence. Kyoto, this happened to Kyoto, resident Kazunori Yokoi, who is 61, they said elderly resident. He sounds like an elderly resident, doesn't he? Has allegedly been rocking out on his dozens of guitars and playing his radio at loud volume. Define loud, please. Loud volume, day and night. Maybe he has a hearing problem. Since 2019, a local police officer said declining to be named. Oh, the cop doesn't want to be mentioned. Okay.
Yeah, well, probably doesn't want to get hate by all the punks, the guitar punks the Yakuza is going to show up at his house being like, you don't like our guitars?
Yeah, police they don't want to be part of this story. This caused 3 neighbors in their 60s to their 80s to suffer from sleep deprivation and depression, while a 4th developed a constant ringing in his ears known as tinnitus. Again, you were not close enough to his speakers to get that. If he was playing it that loud, he would have been deafening people.
Maybe he was.
Across the street. That's really loud. A string of official warnings failed to change his behavior, but the 4 neighbors finally gave police sufficient grounds to arrest him on assault charges, the official said. Police seized over 40 guitars, many electric. Dude's got too much money. That's what his problem is. Why do you need 40 guitars?
If you have 40 guitars, go find a studio to practice in, bro. What the hell?
Yeah, you can just plug your guitar into your headphones and play like that, right? You know that. That's the thing. Anywho, I got a lot of coughing today because even though it's not even hot, I got to blow the fan on me. So I'm sweating, and every once in a while I got to chill. Isn't that weird? Police seized over 40 guitars, many electric, from Yokoi's residence, along with CD and radio cassette and amplifiers. Investigators measured noise levels over 80 decibels in the neighborhood. How loud is a train?
how loud is the train?
Roughly
Maybe
as
the same.
Roughly as loud. It's not that loud. Which is the city says is roughly as loud as being inside of a moving train. So you're saying that being inside a moving train is dangerous? Maybe you should get rid of your moving trains. So if it's not dangerous, why is he being arrested? Moving trains are arrested. They're louder on the outside.
Also, what do they mean? Yeah, what do they mean by that as well? Because, like, do they mean if you're in like the train car, like, you know where the doors are? It's usually not dampened, right? So that's pretty loud. If you're where the doors are, like the connecting points between train cars, that's pretty loud. But if it's like when you're sitting in the train car, yeah, I don't know what they mean by inside a train car.
Inside of a train car, I can hear their announcements. So how loud is that? It's not loud enough to drown out the announcement. It says here 80 dB level is safe for up to 8 hours of total time each day. The official safe limit by the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health for an 8-hour workday is 85. So they're 5 dB below that. So it's not even that unsafe. So again, they're arresting him for just, oh, I'm old and cranky. I want some peace.
Yeah, but you already said, right? You already said he could have put headphones on, and they could have also put headphones on. There was a solution here, and then said they called the police. Because neither of them wanted to compromise. Yeah, he's an asshole, and
let's cut to the case. This guy's just a serious asshole, and he's just doing it to bother them because they were bothered by it. I'm bothering you. That's my goal. That's again rock and roll. One of the goals of rock and roll was to bother your parents as much as possible. It was awful because all kinds of sounds were jumbled together all day. Yeah, if he could actually play, right, that would be something. Maybe that. Anyway, one of his neighbors is just, okay, dude, you can't fucking play. You just keep buying guitars and you suck at it. Maybe that's it. You're just terrible at it. So they finally just arrested him, took his damn guitars, and everybody in the neighborhood's like, yeah, we didn't really get hearing damage. We just had to come up with something. There's no way you got hearing damage of 80 dB. Sorry, it didn't happen. Anyway, that's my story. That was a shorter one, even though I made it longer. Sarcasm.
This guy's an asshole. Yeah, I'm gonna go to like wherever this guy's been arrested. I'm gonna go out to his jail cell, and I'm just gonna keep banging against the jail bars and see how he likes not sleeping. I guess. I'm curious. It's an actual torture thing. The people who were taken or arrested for like the Gaza floats, right? They were going as a peaceful, bringing supplies to people in Gaza, and they were arrested by the U.S. or wherever and put in jail cells. Those people who are maybe even Israel, I think it might have been Israel, arrested those people who were trying to give supplies to Gaza victims. They put them in cells in cars. Right? And they would come in every hour, every 30 minutes, bang, 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 no sleep for you, bang, bang, bang. And that's actual torture. Sleep deprivation is considered abuse. Which is why they were able to get him for assault. Because if you don't let somebody sleep, they go fucking crazy. So all these people were probably going insane. They were like, I'm going to murder my neighbor. I need to call the police because I'm going to murder my neighbor. Get no sleep. I'm actually going to do it. I've got the poison. I've got the hatchet, whatever, I'm going to murder my neighbor. So there you go.
Unless this guy is buying a bunch of fake counterfeit guitars, right? How much money does he make this by 40 guitars, right?
It's going to be...
They're not cheap.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. I'm not imagining these counterfeit
hospitals
guitars.
Are very loud.
They're not real Fenders. They're not real anything. They're just knockoffs. That's what I'm thinking. He just buys a bunch of knockoffs, and he can't really play. Otherwise, his neighbors will be like, God, that's really nice.
Maybe he can play, but like you said, it's just loud and constant late at night. If he was playing at like 3 p.m., it probably wouldn't be a big deal. Nobody's home. But he's playing at like 3 a.m. instead. 3 a.m.
You've been arrested for being an asshole.
Rock out.
We're trying to get along with you, asshole. That's enough. That's it.
No compromise. We're done.
Already. We're done.
Anyways, that's our tangent about that story because we're fascinated about it, I suppose. For our next,
all like that for Harleys. Harleys are annoying and noisy cars. Noisy cars are the worst. Why do you need a noisy
working on their moped or their guitar or their motorcycle or whatever? Like a couple years back. And every morning, like 8 a.m., I'm like, I'm gonna kill my neighbor. Why is he doing this so early?
You can take all the people with noisy cars and just exterminate them, and they won't be missed because they don't serve any purpose. They're just out there to bother you, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's their stated goal, is to bother as many people as possible because they hate themselves. So anybody that's like that really hates themselves.
Accurate metaphor or simile for my culture news, which is about a man who invented an ancient amphitheater 20 years ago and was just scamming people out of their money, being, yes, come to my ancient amphitheater. Look, ancient Italian, ancient Roman thing. This is from Calga Uren on Euronews Culture, coming from, well, I guess Rome or Italy. A man has been jailed in Italy for fraud after charging tourists 40 euros to visit a fake Roman amphitheater he built himself 20 years ago. Franco Malasso van Rosenfrans, 69, nice, claimed to have discovered the site known as the Berico Maritime Amphitheater in northeastern city of Vicenza after a landslide in 2005. According to Italy's Corriere della Sera, Malasso told visitors the site was one of the world's oldest and largest amphitheaters and dated back to AD 393. He claimed that Julius Caesar had visited on his return to Rome from Egypt with Cleopatra, and that Shakespeare's famous fictional character Juliet Capulet had lived in the old church there.
We call him Caesar these days.
Yeah, how you pronounce it is Caesar. Caesar.
Anyway.
That's how you pronounce it in Latin. Yeah, I'm sorry you learned how to pronounce it incorrectly. Juliet Capulet, who's not real for Romeo and Juliet, did not live there because she's not real. In addition, Maloso described himself as a philanthropist, entrepreneur, and orchestra conductor. Okay. This dude's insane. And managed to persuade local authorities to include it in the Vicenza EU-funded tourism guide and online app. So not only has he scammed people, he scammed the EU government. Uh-oh. Hey, our tax money. I would like that back, thank you. But suspicions about his far-fetched tale began to emerge in 2016. Archaeologists called it in to investigate by Italy's Carabinieri. Military police discovered the ancient structure contained fiberglass. Ah yes, the ancient Roman fiberglass. Papier-mâché columns and rendered blocks and plaster statues dating back to the early 2000s. Well, this is just repair work. Okay, real repair work is done with actual material that they would have used back then, not plaster and rendered blocks. Satellite images also showed that Maloso had first leveled a hill and then built the bogus ancient monument on the cleared area. Yep, you can't get away with these kind of scams anymore now that we have Google Maps to be like, go back to 2000. Oh, it's not there. That's weird. Where'd it go? It just suddenly appeared. Other historical detective work determined that Italy's most famous ancient ruler, Julius Caesar, lived around 400 years before the date on which the building was supposedly constructed. Furthermore, as most English literature students will attest, the setting associated Shakespeare's romantic tragedy is not in Vicenza, but Verona. Maloso had been sentenced to 2 years and 4 months in prison for illegal construction, art forgery, and creating works without authorization. He's also been fined 3,000 euros, which he probably made way more money off the scam. So, meanwhile, Artsu Nano Council has filed a 560,000 euro damage claim against him to recoup the losses it says it suffered.
Did he really commit a fraud?
How did it suffer? What did it suffer from? I don't know. I need more detail on that. I guess their reputation suffered? I'm just curious. I wish I could see the court documents to see what they actually suffered for, like what damages they suffered from.
For claiming that plays were worked. There you go.
I guess they were scammed government money, right? Because he was in the EU tourism thing. So maybe they were scammed too. But there's my short story, or my short culture news about a dude who did a lot of work, I guess, to create an amphitheater to scam people 40 euros each. I wonder if he made his money back.
I will quote Shakespeare and then paraphrase Shakespeare. Right? Shakespeare in the play As You Like It had one of his characters say, "All the world's a stage," and of course, acting itself is deception. So there you go. How can you be mad? Acting is deception. You're not that person. You're pretending to be that person. You're not really.
Yeah.
You're not really Richard III. You're Jim Morrison who went to the butcher shop. Okay? Liar.
Yeah.
You're not really. Look. What? How can they be mad about deception? The entire thing is deception.
I mean, for me, the whole thing about this is a bit victim blamey, because I'm like, how do you give a guy 40 euros and he says, yeah, Juliet lived here? Juliet's not real.
Yeah, no shit.
There's people out there who think Romeo and Juliet were real people. Oh my god, yeah. You kind of deserve to get scammed.
Noah's Ark in Tennessee, the giant Noah's Ark, for a thing that never happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know when it became a thing where people think Noah's Ark actually happened. When as a child, there's no possible.
Yeah.
I heard about Noah's Ark as a 5-year-old. I said, "Huh? What did they feed the lion?" I
We
probably
found
didn't
the
ask
real
that.
one. It's not real.
Where did the birds go? How can a fish didn't drown? Well, I'm just saying, it didn't like wipe out the fish. You know, wipe out the dolphins. You know, the whales didn't give a shit. It was raining. They didn't even fucking notice. Anywho,
All right, let's roll
dumbest
our.
story in history. It's a parable. It's all it is, and people think it's real.
My camera broke again. Well, this will be the last bit of the show, so I don't worry about my broken camera.
Today, I hope.
I already got non sequitur, so let's re-roll again.
Oh, it's actually cooler
for
today.
me, just me with my eyes closed, smiling. Okay, we get it. You want me to do a non sequitur? It's rolling the same thing. Anything, give me anything that's different. Limerick, thank you. Finally, I get a limerick. Hell yeah.
Oh, limerick.
Take it away in this day in history. Well, I fixed my camera the 50th time today.
Since you keep losing the signal, you might want to limit it to one limerick, but we'll try to go
I'm not
through
losing
this.
signal, it's just...
You're dropping off Discord.
No,
All right,
I did that once. That only happened
okay,
once.
well...
And it wasn't, I didn't lose internet, it's because my Discord has an automatic AFK timer and sends me to the AFK channel. There's nothing to do with my connection.
Inconvenience, talking about it doesn't make it go away. 1588 in this day in history, July 29th, it's 29th, right? 1588, the Spanish Armada, the great fleet sent by King Philip II of Spain to invade England was first sighted by the English off Lizard Point, Cornwall.
Lizard Point. Lizard.
And of course, Spanish Armada was dashed on the rocks of the North Sea at some point. 1805, French political scientist, historian, politician Alex de Tocqueville was born. He's the guy who wrote that book about American democracy called Democracy in America, a 4-volume thing. Well, he went around the United States to say, here's how fucked up America is. I'm not sure what he said. I have read excerpts of it. It was basically the Europeans trying to figure out what the hell was going on in 1805. Let's understand that. That was Thomas Jefferson was president at the time. 1835, King Kamehameha the third leased the first sugar plantation land in Hawaii. All right, Whitey, we'll lease
Isn't
this
it Kamehameha?
Kamehameha the third.
Isn't that?
What?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
King Kamehameha the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's your famous king, Kamehameha. King Kamehameha. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Anywho, Europeans got hooked on sugar in 1835. They decided, yeah, man, we can grow a lot of sugar out here in Hawaii. And of course, the Caribbean, very famous for sugar plantations. 1858, Townsend Harris persuaded the Japanese to sign the Harris Treaty because it was named after him, Townsend Harris. An agreement securing commercial and diplomatic privileges for the United States and Japan. Right on, man. Getting that foothold in Japan, the trade market. That led to
global bullying.
It's just trying to make some money.
No, I believe that specifically what happened was, if you don't open your borders, we're going to bomb you. That's what they said.
1858, the United States was not a world power. 1858.
I'm saying that's what they threatened. They famously threatened Japan, we are going to bomb you if you don't open up your borders. That's what they did.
I don't think they had any real freaking military power in 1858. 1872, Nathaniel P. Langford and James Stevenson made the first ascent to Grand Teton, the highest peak of the Teton Range in Wyoming. Whether they threatened or not, I just don't think they were going to do anything in 1858. We didn't even have repeating rifles. We barely had repeating rifles at the time.
Yeah, Japan didn't have any rifles, so they were
a closed society. That's what I'm saying. You're getting a foothold on people who are trying to live in the past for eternity. It's kind of easy, right? You're opening up the Industrial Revolution to them. 1872, Nathaniel P. Langford and James Stevenson made the first ascent of Grand Teton, the highest peak of the Teton Range in Wyoming, named after breastises. That's right. Teton, the French word for, 1890, Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh died on this day in 1890, 2 days after shooting himself. He died in Auvers-sur-Oise, France.
So, I did not realize he suffered for 2 days. That sucks.
Yeah, 1890 probably had a dueling pistol or something. Really not that efficient at killing people, but wounding them. 1995, Swedish economist and statesman Dag Hammarskjöld, sounds like a Iceland type person, who served as Secretary General of the United Nations, received the 1961 Nobel Peace Prize. So it was his birthday today, right? So happy birthday to Swedish economist and statesman Dan Hammarskjöld. Swedish name, sorry. 1913, Albania was formally recognized by major European powers as an independent principality following the issuance of the Vlore Proclamation, Vlore with two little thingies over it. 1954, the first part of J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy epic, The Lord of the Rings, became a socio-cultural phenomenon and was adapted as a series of we know Lord of the Rings. Anyway, it was first published on this day, 1544. The first part was known as, Return of the King? Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring.
The Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, Return of the King was
the last part.
Been 40 years.
You've read that book multiple times, though.
No, I read it back in 1980.
Oh, okay.
1981, maybe. 1957, the International Atomic Energy Agency was created because we had to keep track of all the atoms. 1981, Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer were married in St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Big deal. That marriage lasted until it didn't. 2005, planetary scientists formally announced the discovery of what was believed to be a 10th planet. It was later designated a dwarf planet and given the name Eris, E-R-I-S. It's basically bigger than Pluto, even though we were calling Pluto a planet. About the same size, but I think slightly bigger. Today in history, the Arc de Triomphe, who we were not allowed to film in front of for some damn reason. I still don't know
copyrighted.
Why. Because it's not illegal.
They have all their things copyrighted, all their monuments copyrighted.
I looked it up. It is not illegal to film. It's not illegal to take a picture of it. It's just some cops decided that we weren't going to stand there any longer. That's all it was. I can't find any evidence that it's illegal. So on this date in 1836, the inauguration of the Arc de Triomphe, it was one of the largest triumphal arches in the world, unfolded almost in secret. King Louis Philippe, fearing assassination, canceled the ceremony, planned for one of Paris's most ambitious monuments. Only 11 people attended. For a structure built to proclaim glory, its beginning was strikingly quiet. It sounds like a Trump event, right? 11 people. Massive crowds! Oh, no, there was no crowd. Sorry. National Aeronautics and Space Administration was established on this day in 1950. Doesn't even. What year? What 19? What's at the top? Featured event. Oh, 1958. 1958. And NASA was established. NASA, NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So happy birthday to NASA. Benito Mussolini's birthday. Oh, yeah, we got to celebrate our fascists. He was the original fascist. He was the first of the 20th century European fascist dictators, assuming absolute power of Italy in 1922, and his harsh rule.
Ooh, we love fascism. Wait, no, we don't.
Whenever anybody tries to tell me their definition of fascism, I always go back to Benito Mussolini's definition of fascism because he was the first fascist, right? He said, fascism is the government acting as a corporation. That's what it is. Or a corporation acting as a government.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a while.
Indistinguishable. But your fascist buttlickers and bootlickers will say, that's not fascism. Fascism is liberals told us how to think. I'm like, huh? Fascism has nothing to do with liberal or conservative. It's just a corporation running your government for profit and not caring about human rights. That's what it is. And there are national days today. It's only 3 things. National lipstick. Oh, I got to do birthdays. Holy crap. I can't believe I skipped birthdays. Skip birthdays. Other birthdays today. Charles Lennox, first Duke of Richmond. Born in 1672. Let's get to other famous birthdays. We'll start with NFL player, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, turned 33. Let's find somebody else famous here. Will Wheaton, actor, turning 54. Musician Martina McBride, turning 60. Ooh. Let's try to find somebody else famous here. There's a picture of musician Patti Scialfa, who's married to Bruce Springsteen. I don't know if she's still married to him, but she was born in 1953. Geddy Lee, happy birthday to Geddy Lee, the lead singer and bass player for Rush, who is back out on tour with a new drummer. Filmmaker Ken Burns, who makes all the good PBS documentaries, turning 73. Musician Neil Dowdy of REO Speedwagon, turning 80. One of our old rockers. Newsman Peter Jennings, who was born in 1938, who died of cancer, unfortunately, a number of years ago. Elizabeth Dole, apparently, was still alive, former U.S. Labor Secretary, U.S. Senator, and wife of Bob Dole, whose birthday was the other day. He's not around, but I think Elizabeth Dole still is. Who else? Actress Clara Bow, born in 1905. We did the Dag Hammarskjöld, or however you pronounce that. Who else we got here? Benito Mussolini. Got to remember his birthday. Those are your birthdays for today. On this day in National Day calendar, it's National Chicken Wing Day, National Lipstick Day, National Lasagna Day. So that's all your days for today. All your limericks, your technical glitches, Discord. We hope you're still working Discord. On Weird Wednesday, July 29th, 2026, on before chicken wings and lasagna. And boy, oh boy, take yourself an antacid, because it's gonna be a fun time in the old digestive tract as you mix those two things together. They're gonna be swimming together, going, "Wee, this is fun." There's your let's have us a limerick. At least one limerick.
I have one limerick for you. There once was a man who feared assassination. He said, "Let's see the great translation." It was rather secret, but not super secret, and he couldn't resist the application. There's my really bad limerick. He feared assassination, so he built an ark.
Here's a trick. Next time you put azation at the end of every word. Like, I'm gonna assholeization, right? You can just put azation at the end of every word. That's a trick. It doesn't have to be a real word. Poetry doesn't have to include real words, right? I'm just saying you can bastardize words all you want. At least for limericks.
We love a bastardization.
Bastardization is another word you can use in that little limerick. Right?
Lasagne.
Lasagna.
I should have made a limerick about maybe I still can. No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but
you cannot film the Arc de Triomphe for commercial purposes, maybe that's
on
big
July 29, we cheer for lasagna, loved far and near. With layers so grand, a dish truly planned, delicious delights in each tier. Because it has layers. Oh, there you go.
7 or 8 or 10 or 12, 14 cheeses you put in. Oh, that's a cheesy delight.
All right. There are no international UN observances today.
Birthday.
So continue celebrating hepatitis, or I should say saving yourself from hepatitis. Giving support to hepatitis sufferers.
Yeah.
And this has been Alison here from the Netherlands.
You only
Roger
get one.
from the East Coast of the US as we finish up another Wacky and Weird Wednesday. Off to our Thursdays 13 tomorrow, which will have a list of 13 things, which you did have a list last week. So I'm hoping you finish that list. Yeah,
my list is going to be song titles, but really what they should be called, right?
Okay. You know, so like this song's called Lay Down, and it's nothing about laying down.
Example. The song Fast Car by I can't think of anybody's name now. Who sings Fast Car?
Don't know. Anyways, there's a song called Fast Car. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm ending the show. I'm not going to wait for you to look up who wrote Fast Car. Well, we will see you for Thursdays 13 about our... Tracy Chapman Omlin says.
The song is not about a car. It's not about a car at all. So
yeah.
That's just an example. It's not about a car.
Yeah, that's an example. Yeah. It should be called
something
My
else.
Lover Left Me. Or whatever.
Something else. I have
we'll have that list for you tomorrow. If you're not already following Before Coffee podcasts on Twitch, or subscribe to subscribe to Before Coffee podcast on YouTube, please do that, because we need that number to go up. We're trying to get to 100 followers on Twitch and I think 500 subscribers on YouTube. So appreciate everyone who's been supporting us so far, especially our Before Coffee supporters on Patreon. And here is our mic drop moment about edumacation.
Education for
we love a nice. I remember when they used to parody songs all the time.
Is our children learning? And find out that the literacy level
is our children learning.
Teach a child to read, and he or her will be able to pass the literacy test.
As far as I know, the first idiot president. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about education. He can't think of a single thing about education. No Child Left Behind by us all staying behind.
Act, because we want to make sure no child is left behind.
Thanks for explaining. That was useful.
As yesterday's positive report card shows, children do learn when standards are high and results are measured.
Children.
To those of you who received honors, awards, and distinctions, I say well done.
Multiple children's.
And to the C students,
which I am one of you. I am a C student myself.
I say, you too can be president of the United States.
Oh, at least he can make some fun of himself. Yeah, at least he can do that, which somebody else can't do. Exactly.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.